All right. So, welcome once again, everyone. It's a pleasure having you all. And I want to congratulate you once again for your consistency. Trust me, go out there, ask everybody, do you want to succeed? They'll tell you, yes, I want to succeed. Go out there, ask everybody, do you want to do cloud computing? They'll tell you, yes, I want to do cloud computing. Ask them, are you really sure you want to do cloud computing? They'll say, yes, I want to do cloud computing. Ask them, do you really want to work from home? Many will say, yes, they want to work from home. But the question is, how many are willing to pay the price? How many are willing to go through the process, right? How many are willing to sit down and study? How many are willing to learn something new? For so many, they said they don't know about cloud computing, right? Cloud computing, new concept to them. But how many are willing to patiently attend a free session? Nothing paid, right? For over 2 weeks now. A free session just to attend to understand. They say the future belongs to those who are ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I was just open enough to IT information like this. With a background as a medical doctor, I was open enough to learn. And so I don't know your background here, but I know that the fact that you're connected to this Zoom and the fact that you've been consistent up to now, it means you are still looking for something. It means there is something chasing you, right? And I want to appreciate the entire Solavise team and equally appreciate you because it's because you're there that we are here to serve. And I want to encourage each and every one of us once again to stay connected, to stay active, to stay interactive, because the session of today is going to be an amazing one. Security is one of the key features that everybody wants to take a look at. Whatever system you build, if you build a house, wherever you are, you want to take a look at the security measures you put in place. The same thing happens to the cloud. There is a specialty in cloud computing called cloud security. You can actually be a cloud security architect or a cloud security engineer. So if you understand these concepts, we're not going to go deep dive into them, right? We're going to go high level. So you have an idea on how security looks like in the cloud. So in case, give me 1 second, guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you want to always take a look at security. So the same thing happens here in the cloud. And so Prof. Eric is going to be taking us through our session on cloud security. So Prof. Eric, can you hear me, please?
Yes, Prof, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, 5 on 5. You have
Awesome.
5, please hear from me.
Awesome.
Let me take your ability, man. Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just put a yes on the chat, please. I need a yes on the chat if you can hear me. Perfect, guys. Perfect. I like the expression. I like the response and everything. I like your presence from day one since we began this webinar series, and it's been exciting every time I'm about to come on this call and follow the series. And why not you? Right. Yes. So my name is Williamfa Eric. I'm a AWS solutions architect. I'm a multi-cloud engineer. I'm also a DevOps engineer. And it's been exciting being on this session, being with you all. So today, we are going to talk about one important feature, one important framework, or one important pillar in the cloud, right? And that pillar is nothing else but security in the cloud. Today, we are going to look at security in the cloud. A minute, let me adjust my screen, get myself, a minute. A minute, guys. I'm having some challenges. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Thank you again for that. Actually, I don't like to talk about myself so much. That is a problem, right? Yes, I don't like to talk about myself so much. I just want that along the way you discover who I am and what I can bring on the table for you, right? Yeah, so that is it. Today we're going to talk about the concept of security in the cloud. Concept of security in the cloud. The concept of security in the cloud. I don't have a good handwriting though, but I'm not a medical doctor anyways. So just try to manage and try to zoom in and do very well, right? Yeah, that's it. So we're looking at the concept of security in the cloud, right? Now, why is security so important? But before we even look at the importance of security, in one of our sessions with Prof. Samba, you guys noticed that he talked so much about the benefits of moving to the cloud, right? We listed a number of benefits. And I want all of us here that are on the call, those who have been attending from day one, right? Yes, which are some of those benefits when you're moving to the cloud. Can you list me those benefits? The benefits he listed last time. Benefits of the cloud. Or benefits of cloud computing. Which are some of those benefits? Can you just put them on the chat, please? Just put them, just brief, short, just in a 2 word or few letters, right? If you can remember, for those who've been here, just put them on the chat. I want to see them. Jarvis, okay, cost optimization, right? Cost optimization, right? What else? Okay, business continuity. Perfect. Business continuity. Accessibility everywhere. Customer trust. Accessibility, customer trust. Right? Are there any ones again? Are there some benefits again? Protects critical data. Very important. Protects critical data. Yes. Quick application deployment. Perfect. Guys, this is so amazing. This is so amazing. Quick application deployment. Safeguard reputation. Awesome. You are there for business, so you need to have a good reputation. Safeguard reputation. Right. I think this is powerful, guys. This is powerful. I'm so excited by the response I'm having on the chat. I mean, it shows that we've all been following from day one, and there's no reason why nobody who has been following this course or this program from day one shouldn't have an understanding of these benefits, right? Yes. So now the thing is, based on all these benefits, when you are excited to move to the cloud, you are excited to work as a cloud engineer, you are excited to be employed as a DevOps engineer, right? Or you as a business person, you are excited to move your applications to the cloud, and you're mindful of all these benefits. It's so amazing. You're going to enjoy them. However, guys, don't forget that when you're moving to the cloud, guys, security risk. Moving to the cloud poses security risk. Security risk. It poses a lot of security risk. Why? Because right now, because of advancement in technology and a whole lot of things that are happening within the tech industry, many people are now on social media. Everyone. Even people who could not press a laptop or even press a phone, maybe 5 years back or even 10 years back, when they are able to understand a few things about a computer, just with a few clicks, what they can do on the internet can be crazy, can be terrible. And when I'm talking about terrible here, it means that they can do terrible things that can maybe risk your application, that can bring down your company. Maybe like hackers or people even illegally accessing your application or your business online. So this poses a lot of risk. It poses a lot of risk, and that's why it is important for us on this call to understand that when you're moving to the cloud as a business person, or you have a big company and you're moving to the cloud, you need to protect your data. It's very important that you protect your data. It's important for you to protect your data, right? Protect your data, because they say that data is king, isn't it? Data is king. I think before the advent of cloud computing, one of the things that was reigning was data analysis. Data analysis, because people saw the importance of data. Everybody wanted to study data analysis, data analytics, right? So they realized that data is king. And because of that, there is need to protect your data. And then secondly, there is need to protect your applications. Protect applications, right? They need to protect applications. Provided we are developing an e-commerce platform, and we foresee that we're going to have customers purchasing from that platform, maybe to bring down our application, right? So it's important that we should protect our application. We should put in all security measures, right, to protect our application. So these are some of the things you need to understand when it comes to moving to the cloud. You need to know that you need to protect your data, right? You need to protect your data. You need to protect your applications. And now, based on this understanding, which are those possible sources of security threats? I'm talking about cloud security threats in this case. Cloud security threats. We are looking at cloud security threats. Cloud security threats. If you are moving to the cloud, right? Which are those possible sources of cloud security threats? When you're moving to the cloud, you've deployed an application, right? You need to understand that there are some sources in your organization, right? Here I'm talking about internal threats, internal security threat, internal security threat. This is the first type of threat that you have when you are moving to the cloud. And when I'm talking about internal security threat, where could it come from? It could come from your employees, right? Your employees. It could come from your employees. Sometimes they say that the enemy is always within. Right? So whenever you're with a team or you're having your co-workers, you need to be on yourself. Right? So it's within your company, you should put in security threat that is going to be within your company, right? Now, another source of cloud security threat is external. External security threat, external threats. External threats. When I'm talking about external threats here, one possible thing you could think of hackers is hackers, right? We've established and we developed an application. We know that you need to protect your applications against hackers when you're moving to the cloud. They want to bring down applications. They want to have access to critical data. Competitor, right? Your competitor. Your competitor. Sometimes people don't like to see you grow, especially those with whom you are in the same business line. right? They don't want to see customers buying from your side. Your competitor just see buying from him every time and then. And one thing they can do is they can switch straight to you. As we move ahead, we are going to see that pattern.
Prof, I think you want to unmute your other device. Both are muted. Thank you.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you
yes.
hear me?
Cool.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Sorry about that, guys. I'm having some internet glitch. Okay. Let me share my screen back. So I'm saying that before cloud security came, right, or before somebody moves to the cloud, which are those practices or which are those security measures he put in place while being on-premise? I'm talking about before cloud security in the cloud. Before cloud security. Before cloud security, what happens? What does a company do? I'm talking about on-premises, right? On-premise here. On-premise security. On-premise security. How do companies that are operating on-premise, how do they put security measures? When I'm talking about security measures here, I'm talking like in terms of a company that's established on-premise, and let's say they need to maybe get a facility, right? Maybe set up a building, a kind of a building, maybe something like this. They're operating on-premise. I'm not a good artist, guys. So, and they're operating on-premise. What are those physical security measures they put in place? They may think of setting up a physical gate, right? Or a physical fence to protect their building. They set up this fence to protect their building. This is what will usually happen. And when they set up this fence to protect their building, another thing they may do is they may even set up electric cables all over the building, right? To protect that physical building. Another thing they could do in terms of security is to maybe bring in a security guard. They will bring in a security guard, right? Who is going to maybe allow access into the premises. And now inside the building, they have servers. They have a whole lot of maybe machines and laptops that are operating within the house. Within that house or within the facility, which are those physical security measures they put in place? They need to maybe put on a padlock or maybe set up a biometric authentication system, right? So here I'm talking about physical security. The first thing they do, or when the company is operating on-premise, the first thing they do is physical security. It's physical security. And the second thing, when they are still on-premise, is they may install antivirus, installation of antiviruses. Installation of antivirus. right? Take, for example, that we have a company that is developing softwares. Maybe they develop applications like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and all of that. They are responsible for developing such applications, and they are operating on-premise. They will need to purchase laptops. Let's say they have about 50 laptops, and then in each of these laptops, they are going to install antivirus in each of these machines. Install antiviruses in these machines. Right? And when they install this antivirus, it's going to protect them against maybe viruses and all of that. And then another thing that is done on-prem in terms of security is audit and compliance. Audit and compliance. Audit and compliance. I think most of here we've worked in 2 or more companies, right? Or even if you haven't worked in any company, what you see is that within the company or an organization, right, you always have auditors come within that company or within that organization. And when they come, they may have to talk to maybe the accountant or maybe the manager, and they're trying to inquire from them what has been done in terms of maybe the finances. How do they run their finances? They go into the company's account or into the organization account, and they look at how money has been spent, right? How much money has been spent? What did they do with the money? Who spent the money, right? And these are the questions they always ask. Why? Because they want to make sure that when you are running that organization or that company, there are certain standards you must comply to, right? They make sure that there are certain standards which you must comply to. And this is all what security measures that are carried on at the level of on-premise. I was talking about the software developing company, right? And this company, like I said, is developing softwares like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and all of that. A company may come in, or the audit team may come in to check that, to see that if these software developers, they are developing applications for, let's say, banks or financial institutions. Let's say EcoBank, for example, they have an application. The audit team will come to see that the company that is developing this application, does it comply to standards when it comes to keeping people's personal information or critical information? These are some of the things the audit team will come to look, right? And all this is done to ensure that security is implemented at the level of on-premise, right? So these are all security measures that are put in place at the level of on-premise. Now, having this understanding of security at the level of the on-premise or before moving to the cloud, all these bring some challenges, right? Challenges when operating on-prem, security challenges. Security challenges when operating on-prem. Security challenges on-prem. Security challenges on-prem. And one key challenge, I don't want to list all of them, but one key challenge that we should all take note of is upfront cost, upfront investment. Upfront investment. Upfront investment. Again, let me get back to my software developing company, right? Like I said, this company is developing applications on-prem, right? And one of the things, the key things they will first need to do before even starting that company, they will need to buy hardware. They will need to buy these computers. They will need to purchase them. They will need to purchase software. They will need to purchase software applications, software apps to develop those applications themselves. Another thing they will need to do is they will need to carry out maintenance. They need to carry out maintenance. And all this is a lot of cost, guys. It's a lot of cost to carry out all this. So imagine that they've started developing these applications and the market is growing and the customer base is growing. Let's say they started, let's say in Cameroon, right? And they realized that they're having customers from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and they need to scale. That means they will have to leave from Cameroon and go and set up the same facility in Cameroon. And set up the same facility in Nigeria, in Ghana, or in Kenya. And this is a lot of cost. It's a huge cost. And when you set it up, you need to purchase the same hardwares, software applications, and carry out the same maintenance. And why not even the physical security? You will need to employ people to guard those environments, to guard those facilities. And this entails a lot of costs, right? It entails a lot of costs. So it's a huge challenge when it comes to security in the cloud. Now, having understood these challenges that being on premises can cause you in terms of security, you've made up the decision to move to the cloud, right? You are now maybe on a call with a business partner and you guys have decided to move to the cloud. You don't just move to the cloud anyhow and do your things anyhow, anywhere you want, following any kind of standard you want. No, there are things you need to master. The principles you need to understand before even setting up that environment in the cloud. Here I'm talking about designed principles of security. Designed principles of security. Designed principles of security. When you're moving out to the cloud, which are those things you need to keep in mind? Which are those things you keep in your mind before moving to the cloud? It's the same when you want to maybe build a house, right? Yes, you go and meet a contractor, and then you need to tell the contractor, for example, the contractor will tell you that you want to build up maybe a 3 floors house, right? Or maybe 3-story building. He will tell you that these are the standards we need to follow. If we are putting on a foundation, we need this number of pillars, right? We need this amount of concrete. We need this amount of sand. It's the same when you're moving to the cloud. There are those standards. There are those things you need to comply by when you're moving to the cloud. And one of the first things you need to keep in mind when you're moving to the cloud, or one of the first principles is, one is implement a strong identity foundation. A strong identity foundation. It is the first principle when you're moving to the cloud. Implement a strong identity foundation. When I'm talking about strong identity foundation here, I'm talking about strong authentication. What should come in your mind is strong authentication. Strong authentication. Right. All of us here, we all have our Gmail accounts. And when you are creating your Gmail account, Google will tell you that they will give you the standards you follow when you are setting up your password, right? Google tells you that you should use maybe lowercase letters, or maybe uppercase letters. You use maybe special characters, because when you have that combination of letters, figures, and all of that, it makes your passwords to be strong, right? People will not be able to hack your email. They are just trying to make sure that you put in place a strong authentication. So that's what I simply mean here. So when you're moving to the cloud and you want to create that environment for yourself, for your company, for your enterprise, to have access to that enterprise or to that organization or to that application online in the cloud, you need a strong authentication system, guys. You need a strong authentication system, right? And then another thing that you need to understand when it comes to implementing a strong identity foundation, you need to follow the principle of least privilege. Follow the principle of least privilege. Follow the principle of least privilege. What do I mean by this? Following the principle of least privilege. We are working with an organization, let's say 5 of us, right? We have a DevOps engineer, we have the senior DevOps engineers, we have the junior DevOps engineer, right? And then we have maybe the interns, right? Who are all working in one company. And then the manager who is in charge of granting maybe authentication for us within the company to access that application, right? He decided that it's not good that I should give so much privilege to the interns who are on the platform or who are in the company. Because if you give them so much privileges or give me so much authorization to get into the application, they may do things that they are not supposed to do. They may get there and destroy resources, right? So you must make sure that you follow that principle of least privilege. Don't give so much authentication, or don't give so much privilege to that intern. In the meantime, too, even the senior developers or the senior DevOps who are on that platform, you have to make sure that you don't give them so much privilege. Because if they give them so much privilege, they may abuse it and do the things you're not supposed to do. But then to keep in mind that if you don't give them the privilege they deserve, they may not be able to perform their task. So you make sure that give them only the privilege that they need, right? So that they can be able to carry out their responsibility. So when you're moving to the cloud, follow the principle of least privilege. Now, the second design principle is enable traceability. Enable traceability. Enable traceability. What do I mean by this? When you've constructed your house, right? When you've constructed your house and you want to make sure that the security in that house is very tight, one of the things you're going to do, as we all know, one of the things you will do is to set up CCTV cameras, right? What you also do is maybe to set up alarms. Why do you do all of this? To make sure that if anything is happening in that house, you can trace. If something went wrong in the house and you've set up your CCTV cameras, just go to the recordings and look. When you watch it, you see who came in. How did the person come in? What did he do? Right? And that is what you're enabling traceability. This is not different when you're moving to the cloud. There are a lot of nice features, a lot of good services that have been set up, that have been made available for you when you're moving to the cloud. You should keep in mind. In this, I'm talking about you can put on monitoring system, setting up monitoring systems. Right? There are those services, there are those tools that when you move to the cloud, you can simply configure them within your environment so that you can just monitor. You just need to do a few configurations. Right? When you do your configurations, you can be in your house and you do whatever. Those features, they will do the work for you. They're going to monitor your environment for you. If anything went wrong, you just go to those services, you click on them and you look who came to this environment. What did the person do? What time did he do it? Where was he doing from? What's the IP address of that person in terms of the laptop? You can do all of that. You're enabling traceability within your environment. And when you do this, another thing you can do is you can set alerts. Set alerts. Because these monitoring systems, they are not just in place for you to monitor. They may monitor and see that something is wrong somewhere. So the amazing thing that the cloud providers have done is, especially AWS, what they've done is that when you set up these monitoring systems, you can connect them to an alert system also, to your email, to your Yahoo Mail or whatever. So much such that if something is happening, you will receive an alert in your phone that there is something happening somewhere. Somebody has illegally logged into an application. And with that, you can easily take drastic measures. That's the amazing thing when you're moving to the cloud. So all these principles, you must keep them in mind. And one of the best principles, again, that we are seeing here is that you apply principles or you apply security at all levels. Apply security at all levels. Apply security at all levels. When I'm talking about applying security at all levels here, I mean that within your enterprise, within your organization, you have a whole team of workers you're working with. You make sure that you put in security at that level. I'm talking about the users. Okay, users, at the level of the users, right? You make sure that you put in a system where if anyone is logging into that system, they need authentication. At that level, you need to apply security. And another level you need to apply security is at the level of the resources. Right? You apply security at the level of the resources. And another way to, or a way to apply security at the resources here is like you can set up what we call policies. Policies are simply a set of instructions, right? Yes, they are simply a set of instructions that you define and then you attach into a particular resource. And when you attach to that particular resource, you can say, hey, nobody should delete this resource, or nobody should create this resource, or nobody should modify this resource. So that is a security measure you are applying at the level of that particular resource. So this is very important. It's very important. Now, the last principle that you should keep in mind when you are moving to the cloud is that of automation. It's one of the best principles, automation. You automate. You need to automate your security best practices. Automate your security best practices. Best practices. I mean, we all like automation. Life is so sweet when things go easy, right? Where you just sit and you press a button and things are happening. You just do your configurations and you leave everything and you go and enjoy. Right? You need to, it's possible to do this in the cloud also. There are a whole lot of things you can do. There are resources, there are tools, there are applications that you just need to set them. You don't just need to automate all of the processes. Right? For example, let me get you guys back again to the house you are constructing. One of the things you always automate is maybe you don't need a security guard when you are constructing maybe the fence, right? You can just put in this biometric system where if somebody is coming to the house and he hasn't done that biometric registration, he's not going to get in. That's automation you put in place. That's automation you put in place because at that point in time, you don't need a physical security guard to go and sit there and be granting people access into your home, right? You've automated your house. You've automated your house. And if your children are coming to home and they already have the biometric registration with them, they just need to get in. Once they approach the gate just open. That is automation set up in place. You put up in place in your home. It's not different when you're moving to the cloud. There are amazing things you can do when it comes to automation, right? And when you do all of this, it reduces human error. Reduces human error. Reduces human error, right? It speeds up processes. It saves time. Things go faster. Somebody will not need to come to your gate and then they're calling you that by your gate when they don't have access. They haven't done any biometric registration to get into your home. It speeds up processes. Things go faster. Right? So these are principles you need to keep in mind when you're moving to the cloud. These are just the basic principles. I hope you've all been enjoying the session and you've understood a bit of what security in the cloud is all about. And if you've understood what I've explained in the past few minutes, can I just see a yes in the chat to see that we've all been Please, can I say yes in the chat? Okay, sure. Okay. All right, Sancha, I'll get to your question. Please, can I see a yes in the chat if you've been following me? Hello, please, can you hear me? Perfect. Great. I see the yes coming now. I've seen them coming. Nice. Great. That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. I'm glad you're all following. I'm glad. Yes. Okay, Chantal, your question. When I'm talking about at the level of resources, right? Okay. One of the amazing resources you have in the cloud, right? That, for example, in AWS, one of the amazing resources AWS has put in place for every company to take advantage of is what we call simple storage service. Simple storage service. Simple storage service. It's commonly known as S3, right? Because of the 3S. Simple storage service. And what is this service all about? As the name, when you're going to the cloud, this service provides you with a huge amount of indefinite space to store your materials, to store your files, to store your recordings, to store your videos, right? And it's one of those services that a company like Netflix is operating on S3. So imagine the number of movies you have on Netflix. They are all stored in this service, S3. That's how huge S3 is. So within your environment, provided that you have some important data or important files or videos or audios you have, and you've stored them in this S3 service, you need to implement a security measure. For example, you can come and set a security measure that will say that what? I don't want anybody to delete, no delete, don't delete any file, no delete in S3, no delete. No delete, guys. No delete in S3. You don't have to delete any object within that S3 bucket. Here we're talking about bucket. Normally we're talking about bucket because you can store objects inside that bucket. It could be files, it could be videos, or whatever. Right? So you can set a policy that will say no delete of any object in a particular S3 bucket. So that's what I mean by resources. You set security at the level of the resources. Right? Another resource too is EC2. EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. You can also set a policy as such. So each service or to each resource, you can attach a policy that will tell that your customers or maybe your team that, look, I don't want anybody to delete a resource or to delete a file in this resource. And even if they are to delete by mistake, you can set an alert system so that if anyone is deleting, you get an alert through your email. And with that, you can easily take drastic measures. So you can take drastic measures. I don't know if your question is answered, Chantal. Please, did that answer your question? Chantal, was your question answered? You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So guys, that is it when it comes to understanding the principles of security before moving to the cloud, right? Yes, so now, before we continue, it's good that we understand when you're now moving to the cloud, AWS has in place certain amazing tools, certain amazing services, right, that you can take advantage of. And I think it's the key component of our presentation today. We should look at those tools that AWS has made them disposable for us to use. Those features AWS has put in place, they are amazing tools. And that is why it is important for us to understand these tools, because you might be on a call tomorrow with a client, or maybe with a manager of a company who aspires to move to the cloud. Because security in the cloud is a top priority, guys. It's a top priority. And being on that call with the client or with the manager, you've discussed it with him and you've told him what benefits, the amazing things about cloud, how it can save you costs, how flexible it is, how scalable it is. I mean, all these good things, I tell you, lost it. You've lost it completely. And that is why, like Prof. Samba said, there are many roles you can play when you complete, especially program. We are going to find you guys will have it, you understand those basics of security. Because like I said, tomorrow you may be on a call with the manager, and the only thing that will scare them is the security aspect. The security aspect. And they may try to recount and tell you that, oh, I have this my colleague. He had a huge application, and then one day hackers got into application and he ran out of business and the application shut down. So all these stories will scare him. So if you are not able to convince him, if you are not able to, how do they put it? I don't know if they say sweet talk or what, you should be able to convince that client that moving to the cloud, his application or his system is going to be secure. That's why we are on this call. So that you master, so that you understand those tools that AWS has put in place for you to take advantage of. Right? For you to take advantage of. So we're talking about how AWS can help you secure your cloud environment. Your cloud environment. How AWS can help you secure your cloud environment. Basically, we are talking about security tools. Security tools in the cloud. Security tools in the cloud. It's very important to understand this. So when you understand security in the cloud, just picture your home. I always like to use this example of your house, right? Yes, because all of us, we live in homes, we live in houses. And once you have this understanding, this basic understanding of how security works within your home, it's not different from the cloud, right? Now, when you're constructing a house, the first security measure you want to put in place is the entrance, right? It's the entrance to your home, isn't it? Yes, the entrance to my home should be secure. I need to make security tight before somebody gets into my home. It's not different when you are in AWS or when you're in the cloud. So the first security point we are looking at is entry point security tools. Entry point security tools. Entry point sec tools. It's the same. And one of the amazing tools that AWS has put in place is what we call identity and access management. Identity and access management. Identity and access management. What is this service all about? For all of us, as we are on this call, come October, we all embark on that journey of becoming cloud engineers, of becoming DevSecOps engineers, right? DevSecOps, what I mean, development security operations, right? Become all those engineers that will manage security at those levels. Now, when we embark on that journey, each and every one of us who is on the call here is going to create an AWS account, right? And when you create an AWS account, for you to have access to that account, you need username and password. The same with your Gmail, right? So you need username and password to have access to that account. So that will give you access to your AWS account, your environment. It's commonly known as IAM. IAM. So it is that service that AWS has provided that gives you access to your environment. Another important tool that AWS has put in place is what we call multi-factor authentication. multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication. MFA. MFA. Right. Yes. So all of us, again, we have Gmails here. And at some point, you realize that Gmail will send you some message and tell you that to ensure or to have a double layer of security, you need to authenticate this multi-factor. You need to ensure this multi-factor authentication. They call it two-factor authentication, right? Two-factor because it's just another level of security up on that your password and username that you already have previously when you are creating your email. Because they realize that having your username and password is not enough. It's not sufficient for you to have your username and password and you say, hey, I'm secured when it comes to my Gmail. No. Gmail realized that could not sustain or even protect Gmail accounts of their clients. They decided to bring in the two-factor authentication or the multi-factor authentication. So this multi-factor authentication is like a double layer of security. It's the same. Each and every one of us here is going to implement this MFA at the level of his account, right? So much so that nobody can have access to your account. They may have access to your username and password, and they try to log in. And when they try to log in, you who created the account is going to receive a notification in your email that there is access through this device that is getting into your account. And with that, you can take drastic measures. So it's also a powerful tool that AWS has put in place, right? And then another amazing thing that AWS has put in place is what we call policies. I talked to you guys about policies shortly, right? And I said, these policies are simply instructions that you set. You define those instructions and you attach them to a particular service. You attach them to a particular service. And I said, this service can be S3, it can be EC2, right? And why will you attach these policies? So that you want to protect these policies from unauthorized access. Unauthorized access, guys. So one of the key things we are going to do today is we are going to see, like in real time, how you can implement a particular policy and attach it to S3. I said S3 is a storage service. So it's one of the amazing things we are going to do in today's session. You will see it real time, how you attach a particular policy, and that policy could say, hey, nobody within this environment should create a resource, or somebody can create a resource, or you can identify or attribute that policy to a particular user only, right? We are going to see that. Now, another tool that AWS has put in place is what we call the detective tools, the second set of tools that AWS has put in place. After the endpoint security tools, we are looking at detective control tools. Detective control tools. Detective control tools. Right. Now, again, let's come back to our house, right? You've constructed your house. You need to put in place systems that will detect any security threat. You need to set up cameras that will detect a thief that's coming in. Right? Sometimes it's not a thief. It could be maybe fire within your house. You need to set in fire alarms. It's the same in the cloud. AWS has set up what we call CloudTrail. It's a powerful service. CloudTrail. CloudTrail. What does this CloudTrail do? Earlier on, I talked about when you're operating on-premise and you once in a while you have the audit team. They will come and audit your organization or your company. And when they're coming to audit, especially the finance department, because they always have to make sure that things are matching up to standards, right? And when they're coming to audit that department, they will look at maybe the balance account and they will look at maybe your overspending or underspending, right? Maybe the payment of your workers. They make sure that you're paying them well and all of that. And one of the key things they will look at who did what. What did the person do? Where did he do it? This is not different from CloudTrail. CloudTrail is like the auditor. Within your environment, you set up CloudTrail to monitor who did what, right? What did the person do? What was done? What was done? Where did the person do it from? Where from? It's a powerful tool. Within your environment, you just need to set this, and it is going to be monitoring your environment, right? And recording it. It records all of these. It records all of these. Maybe a hacker is trying to get into your application or into your system. Just set CloudTrail and you go and chill. Go and chill and have your fun. If a hacker is coming to a system, CloudTrail is just going to have a record of all of this, where the hacker is hacking from. And you can even get the IP address of that hacker, like the laptop. And with that, you can easily take drastic measures. So that is the beauty of CloudTrail. That's the beauty of CloudTrail. The next tool that AWS has put in place is what we call Amazon Guard Duty. Amazon Guard Duty. Amazon Guard Duty. What does Amazon Guard Duty do? Just from the name, Guard Duty. What it does is that it's going to review within your application. You have data, right? You've pulled data, you've collected data from different sources. And when you've collected all this data, Guard Duty is now coming to identify any unexpected activity or any unauthorized activity that is found within that data. Maybe it could identify maybe a virus, and it's going to alert you, right, that this is a virus and you need to take drastic measures to protect it. So what it does is that we're saying that it reviews data from different sources, and identifies unexpected activity. And when it does this, it's then going to send an alarm, and it alerts. That there's a problem here. So when it does this, you are able to carry out any drastic measures as fast as possible. Right? And one of the amazing things that this tool uses is machine learning, right? It's artificial intelligence. It's artificial intelligence. They're fed with a lot of data. They've modeled it such that when it identifies any unexpected activity, based on that data that is being modeled or is being trained with, it's going to send you an alert. So it uses machine learning to carry out this activity. Use machine learning to carry out this activity. So guys, I don't know if at this point, if there's any question before we ride on, we're wrapping up shortly, before the session, the practical session. I don't know if there's any question. Guys, is there any question? Okay, no question yet. All right, okay, let me see chat. Okay, great. So another tool, now we've looked at detective tools, right? Or detective control tools. Another tool, like I said earlier on, another key thing that you're going to host within your environment is data, right? Yes, so AWS has put in data protection tools that you need to take advantage of. Data protection tools. Data protection tools that you need to take advantage of. And important data protection tool is what we call Amazon Mercy. Amazon Mercy. Amazon Mercy. What Amazon Mercy does is that it within your application, right, or within the data pool that you have, it's going to classify, it's going to pull that data and classify that data based on how sensitive the data is. So Amazon Mercy, it focuses on sensitive data. Focuses on sensitive data. And when I'm talking about sensitive data here, what do you think that sensitive data could be? It could be what we call PII, right? Personal identifiable information. Maybe your date of birth, maybe your financial account details, right? These are data that you need to be careful with it. You need to be so protective about. So Amazon Mercy is going to identify, maybe you're working for a financial institution, and so you have to take advantage of this Amazon Mercy. It's going to classify all of that information and tell you that, hey, this is critical data, protect it, keep it safe, right? It could not only be personal identifiable information, it can be maybe like intellectual rights, maybe intellectual right, or intellectual property. I'm talking about secrets. Intellectual property is about secrets. If anybody on the call here know the secret ingredients that Coca-Cola uses to produce the drink, nobody on the call here knows. If there's anyone that knows that secret ingredient, then you are a suspect, right? Because that's the intellectual property of Coca-Cola company. Nobody's supposed to know it. They protect it safely. It's like their gold, right? Yes. So these are kind of things that Amazon Mercy protects. It's one of the things that they protect. Now, another tool or another activity or another feature that you can take off to protect data is what we call encryption. 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 As I said, data is very important. So at each point in time, when you are moving it maybe from on-premise to the cloud, you need to encrypt it. Because if there's any glitch or if there's any leakage or if there's any breach in security to protect that data, imagine the disaster is going to cause for a huge company, right? So you need to encrypt the data. And you encrypt the data at rest. When I say at rest, I mean that before moving into AWS, you need to encrypt it. You need to protect it at rest. And secondly, you need to encrypt it in transit. Encrypt in transit. While you are transferring that data, you need to protect it. You need to encrypt it using keys, using secret and access keys, right? And there's a powerful tool that AWS has put in place, what we call Secret Manager. You take advantage of this to encrypt your data. So these are the tools or the features you take off when you are moving or when you want to protect your data. Now, another protection that you need to put in place or to implement is what we call infrastructure protection. Infrastructure protection. Infrastructure protection. When I'm talking about infrastructure protection, the amazing thing that AWS has provided for every company is the ability of you that when you're moving to the cloud, you can create that isolated environment just for your company. You don't just go into AWS like that and you start creating resources, creating accounts here and there. No. When you go there and you create an account, with that account, you can create your own separate environment. your own separate environment for your company. And within that separate or isolated environment, you can have maybe the financial department, the human resource department, right? The business department, maybe the IT department. So all of this can be a kind of an isolated environment. And the powerful tool that AWS has provided for us to use is what we call the virtual private cloud. So this one I'm talking about, the first thing when it comes to infrastructure protection, I'm talking about isolation. Isolation. And this isolation is possible through VPC. VPC means virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud. That's the meaning of VPC. So when you move to the cloud, you can create that isolated environment for your company, right? And it's only for you. Only your
Prof, I think we lost your other device. Maybe you want to unmute.
Guys, can you hear me? Sorry, my other device got a glitch.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm rejoining, guys. I'm rejoining.
Great. Guys, who is enjoying the session like myself? I mean, I'm having a very, very nice time with Prof. Eric. This is just the tip of an iceberg, guys. We're going to go deeper into security. We'll go deeper into security, guys. And we'll take each of these tools one after the next. We're going to do hands-on sessions with them, and you'll see them in real life. Great. Can't wait to have you guys in October.
Guys, let me just rejoin and we wrap up with the hands-on. Cool. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Can you hear me? Sure. I'm just going to rejoin. I'm joining for us to wrap up with the hands-on, guys. Sure.
Once again, congratulations to everyone who has been very consistent. I see Anthony has been there, Alain, Jarvis, Chantal. We had Minister Alex today. Jules, Oladapo has also been consistent, as well as music. That's the way, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah, so my other device is taking some time to connect. So I think we'll just wrap up here because I can only write on that device, right? Let's just wrap up here with the hands-on. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Let's just wrap up with the hands-on. So I'll just share my screen here So our hands-on for today, or our demo for today, we're actually going to look at a policy, right? I talked about policies earlier on, and I emphasized on the fact that you can create a policy and attach it to a particular service, right? You can create a policy and attach it to a particular service, and that policy can restrict people from creating the resource, right? Or it can restrict people from accessing that resource, right? Or maybe restrict people from doing any modification with the resource, right? Yes, and it's a very important security measure you put in place as an internal security measure, or maybe it could also be external. It's both internal and external security measure, right? So what we're going to use today, we are going to take advantage of the tool, like I said earlier on, S3. S3 is a storage service. It's a powerful storage service. It has unlimited storage space. I mean, unlimited. There's no definite capacity for S3. Nobody knows. It's just huge. You can store whatever amount of information, petabytes of information, of data that you have in S3, and it will never get exhausted, right? So I'm going to show to you guys today how you can use a policy and attach it to S3, right? And either allow people to have access to that S3 bucket or not, right? So let me share my screen right away. Let me share my screen right away and take you guys through S3. Yes, S3. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to take you guys straight away to my AWS console, right? Yes. So I'm taking you guys straight away to my AWS console. So this is my console. Can you all see my screen? Just put a yes in the chat. You can see my screen. If you can see my console, please. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. That's nice. That's nice. So this is actually my console. Come October, each and every one of us here is going to have this environment. Each and every one of us, all of us here, you deserve to have this environment by AWS, so that you can take advantage to learn how these resources they work and how you're going to use them in your environment when you start working, right? So in my environment here, I have the different resources, I have the different features. I have the S3, like I talked to you guys about. I have the EC2, I have a section of support, I have a billing section, and all of that. It's just amazing. So I'm going straight to S3. I'm going straight to S3. Now I'm in my S3. Then within this S3, like I said, you can create what we call a bucket, right? It's just an empty, just an empty bucket. You don't put anything there yet. So when you create the S3 bucket, you put resources inside, or you can put files inside, or documentation, right? So we are going to create an S3 bucket. You click here, create bucket. It brings you, this menu pops up here. And when you're creating a bucket, you need to give that bucket a name, right? You need to give the bucket a name. And one of the key things you need to keep in mind when you are writing bucket name is that you must make that bucket name unique, because S3 is a global service. It's a global service and everyone is using it. So you must make your bucket unique so that nobody should have that same name. And if you're creating with a bucket that is the bucket name that's not unique, AWS will tell you that this name is already being used. So I'll make sure that our bucket is unique. Let's name our bucket name webinar. Let's say webinar bucket, right? Webinar bucket. And we make it 011, or let's say 1001. We just want to make it unique, right? Yes. And here on my console, it's going to tell you that I'm creating it in this region. Like this is the region of my account, US East, right? In our first session, we looked at the global infrastructure of AWS. And one of the things you guys saw is regions. So this is my region here. And I just need to go down straight away. I'm not going to do any other configurations. I come down here. Now, another thing is, this is where one of the magics will happen. Within this S3, there's a feature that will tell you that this bucket I'm creating, I want to block people from accessing from outside. You want to protect it from anybody. If somebody has a link to that bucket, when you enable this feature, they're not going to have access to the bucket. Even if they have a link, they won't have access to it because of this feature that AWS has put in place. It's because of this feature. So if I want anybody to have access to my bucket, I just need to uncheck this block public access feature. I just need to uncheck it, but I don't want anybody to have access to it. So I just leave it the way it is. I just go down, right? I'm not going to do any other changes. And I just scroll down and then I create my bucket. I create my bucket. Boom, our bucket is created, right? Now, let's upload something into that bucket. And we cannot leave our bucket empty, right? This is the name of our bucket here. Let's upload something there. Let's open it and put something inside. It could be a video, it could be an audio, it could be a file or a picture, right? You just open your bucket. And it's very easy to use this console, guys. It's just like your phone. You click here, you click here, you click there. And that's it. And you do your stuff. You don't need to calculate a lot. Once you click, you see the things and you just click and you upload your picture or your file or whatever. This is the upload button here. You just click it, upload, right? And it brings you here where you want to add a file or maybe a folder. We're going to add a file. We click add file. This comes up here, right? Right on my desktop here, I have a free webinar flyer. I want to upload it into S3, into that S3 bucket. I click on it and then I open it, right? Our bucket is uploaded into that S3 bucket. This is it here. It's a WhatsApp. It's a WhatsApp image. You see there, WhatsApp image. That's it. You scroll down, and it's telling you that it is uploaded in this bucket here, webinar bucket. This is 11001, right? And you don't do anything much, and you just click upload. You see it's uploading. Our bucket is uploaded. Upload successful. That's how fast it is to upload something into an S3 bucket. You close it. Right? Now, let's try and see something. We've uploaded this object into this bucket. This is our bucket. This is the object here. This is the object here. Let's say we want to access it now from the internet. How do we access it? You open that object, right? When you open the object, the amazing thing is that AWS is automatically going to generate a URL for you. Right? What I mean by URL is just like the link to that bucket, to open that bucket. It's just like the link to a website, right? Somebody shares you a link and then you put in your browser, boom, you get into that website. So this is my object URL. Once, if anybody have access to this URL, if I've granted access to the bucket, the person will open it. But because the block public access feature is enabled, nobody is going to open it. Let me copy this URL and then I put it in my browser. I put it in my browser here, and then I try to open it. What do you see? It's an error message, right? And what's the error message saying? It's saying that error, code, data, access denied, code, message, access denied. Why? Because of that block public access feature that AWS has put in place. That's how amazing, that's how protective, that's how secure AWS is when it comes to protecting your files, your documents. Right now, let's go back to that same bucket. Right, let's go back to that same bucket. And what are we going to do now? We are going to take advantage of a policy. We will tell AWS or the S3 bucket that, look, we want to attach a policy so that anybody with the link or with the URL can have access to the bucket or to that object, right? Let's go back and then we edit our features. We come down here. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to the bucket. We come back to the bucket here. and we click permissions. Once we click permissions, right, we want to customize the permission services. Now you can see that the block public access feature here is still activated, it's still enabled. What are we going to do? Let's disable it. Let's click edit. Once we click edit, we come here and we disable it. Our bucket is exposed, but then we need to attach the policy, right? We need to attach a policy that anybody can have access to that bucket. We need to attach a policy to it. And to attach that policy, let's save the changes that we've made here. And AWS will tell you, AWS is going to send you a warning that what? Updating the block public access settings for this bucket will affect this bucket and all objects within. This may result in some objects becoming public. You see, AWS is warning you. It's an alert, so you should read well. And they will tell you that you want to confirm this, you should type confirm in the space below. So I'll just put a confirm here. I'm confirming that I want to expose my bucket to the public and people will have access to it. Or anybody with a link will have access to it, and then I confirm. Right? I've updated the settings. And once I update the settings, I need to go down here, scroll down here, and then I attach my policy. I'm going to attach a bucket policy, edit bucket policy. The option is going to come down for me to put my policy. So with me here, I already have a policy that I developed, right? I'm just going to take it and then we use it and then we implement it. So this is my policy. And my policy is saying that I want anybody with a link to have access to that bucket. I want anybody with a link to have access to that bucket. Right? So I'll just come here and then I attach my policy here. This is my policy. You see it, it's just instructions that you write. You have the version of the policy, is 2012, that's the date, and then you have the full statement of that policy. You have the SID. The SID is just like an identification, and it's something that identifies that policy, right? Yes, and then you have the effect. The effect is like, what is the bucket going to do? It's going to allow people to have access to the bucket. And what is the action? They can get the bucket, or they can get an object from that bucket. This is the action here. And then the principal here, which is represented by a wildcard, is saying that anybody with the link can have access to that bucket, right? And then you have the resource. So I need to edit this bucket policy by just putting or replacing this section here with my bucket name, where you have your bucket name. Just go and copy the name of your bucket, right? This is the name of my bucket here. It's just right here, guys, just here. I just copy it. I copy it, I select it, I copy it, and then I paste it here. I replace it with your bucket name. I replace it with my bucket name. I replace it. That's it. As simple as that. So I've attached a policy to that bucket. And then I go down and I save changes. You see, successfully edited bucket policy. Now, let's go back to that object, right? Let's go back to that object. Let's come back to the object, which is our WhatsApp image, right? Yes, let's open it. Let's open it, and then we copy the URL. Let's copy the URL. You just click and then it copies, so easy. You put on your browser, you want to access it. Boom. That's it. You've enabled access to your object. So that's how amazing policies are when it comes to implementing security at the level of your resources. So guys, it's here that I end my presentation. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I don't know if anybody has a question. You can kindly put it on the chat. You can just unmute yourself and ask your question right away. Okay, the first question I see there is, does the URL change after updating a policy? No, it doesn't change. The URL is attached to the object, right? Not the policy. What affects the access is the policy, not the URL itself. Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much, Prof. Eric. All right. So, Oladapo, just to give more emphasis to that question, right? On this same tab where you are, Prof. Eric, just refresh this page, which is the previous URL. Just refresh this page. Let them see
Okay.
how
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, please.
Yes. The previous page that had the error message the first time.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. This one. Okay. All right.
Yes. Just refresh this page.
Okay.
It's
all right. Okay. 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 Great. Great. Right.
There
Perfect. Yeah, guys, that's it. That's it. Thank you, Prof. Samba.
All right, guys. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Prof. Eric. Prof. Eric even went deeper into security. He was just flowing in it, right? Thank you so much, Prof. Eric. And yes, Peter, it seems you have a question.
Oh, yeah, not really a question, but maybe some my reaction, something like that. The way yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Eric. I think the other day they have been about the disaster recovery, about optimization, global reach, the content delivery. As I've been doing the presentations, I've been like thinking of this way I'm going to be this way, but today today I keep seeing another new way, and actually I need to be very honest that there are so many things that I realized that this is what has been happening. Like for example, we use a platform in where we use the Red Rose platform, where it's like a software that we use for data, and like this automation that you are talking about. I realized that after 90 days, automatically your password expires, and you have to change your password. So you don't need to, they are not going to remind you automatically. You just know that within 90 days you have to change your password. And I was looking at almost everything you actually said today. It was so amazing. And also talking about the detective controls, the cloud trail. I just remember also that in that our platform, there are different levels of, uh, of reactions, whereby of authorization, if I may say it like that way, whereby I may be able to I want to do something. I'm a manager in the company, but I want to do something. I have to request it from the coordinator. I have to request it, and the coordinator has to give an approval after requesting it from the head of programs. So you see this, that's protecting the system so much so that anybody cannot just get access or get into the system easily. And as you were talking, I was just seeing how those things were flowing. So I really want to appreciate, and you were so simple and straight to the point. I really enjoyed the whole time, and I think security, like you said, remains the top priority at the end of the day, because if your data and your whole system is not safe, it will become very difficult for the company to go on. So thank you very much. Let me not say too much. Thank you so much. Very excited. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Thank you. I'm so excited, guys. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much again. Again, it's a journey, right? Yes, a journey. Like Prof. Samba always says, it's a journey. Exactly. There's no destination. Even us, we are still on the journey. We're on the journey carrying you guys, right? Everyone is on a journey. There's no destination. They say that destiny is not a destination, right? Yeah, it's an adventure. It's an adventure, and we want to carry everybody along. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you once again for the reaction, Peter. We appreciate you. All right, guys. You all have been consistent on the call up to now. We are 10 minutes above time, but what we've had today has been mind-blowing. And I'll tell you, our last session comes up on the 12th. You can't miss that session, right? I'll be handling storage in the cloud, and we're going to deploy our Solavise website, right? We're going to host Solavise website on AWS. So you want to invite someone, you want to be there live, and just to let you guys know that everything we've, let me just show you on a high level, everything we've been doing here so far has been well crafted and designed for you in such a way that we will take each and every one. Just I was talking about in their company, they have to automatically change their passwords every 90 days or so. Yes, we'll start off with IAM, Identity and Access Management. Will show you how those best practices are put in place, right? For example, in a company, you can't create a password with less than, for example, less than 10 characters, or maybe less than 14 characters. We'll show you how to specify that. You can't create a password without implementing uppercase letters, lowercase, numbers, special characters. They must be part of your password. We're going to show you how to enable all of that. We're going to show you how to put in those automatic rotations, right? Maybe after every 3 months or every 6 months and so on, right? It's under Identity and Access Management. So this is just an idea of the course outline, right? We'll take into introduction, compute, storage, database, networking, security, cost automation, DevOps, and all of that. All these things will be covered, right? We'll take into Linux systems. I'm sure even when Prof. Eric posted a code, right, the policy, we'll show you how to generate such policies, right, using code, right? So we'll show you guys on how to do it. So this is just the tip of an iceberg, right? You can just glance on the website, you just take a look at, you know, the AWS DevOps course. And so you don't want to miss this session. If you've enjoyed this program this far, come to think about it, if you can just invite 1 or 2 persons to join you for it, right? So we can be able to move along the journey. So thank you guys so much. And if you didn't learn something, right, I want you guys to drop in the WhatsApp group one thing you learned today. Just write a good sentence of something you learned today, and appreciate Prof. Eric for the amazing session that we got today, right? So guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Prof. Eric, and we look forward to having you again, same time on the 12th. That's the day after tomorrow. You can unmute yourself and wish everyone a good night.
Prof. Eric, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, Peter.
Yeah, I know everybody has almost gone. Yeah,
Okay.
there's in order not to drag people behind, I think maybe something. I hope the host is not going to. Okay, you are still the host, so.
Let me stop.